I'm on 64, first leg to go to the Blue Ridge Parkway, Julian Price Campground. Can't believe I'm finally getting to do this. I think I've been planning this for at least a year. One thing comes up and then another, and then the weather's not good. Early August the 6th. It's supposed to be nice in the mountains. Mid 70s in the daytime, go down the upper 50s at night. And have a spot right on the lake, which I reserved 3 months ago. And the weather forecast, long-term forecast, have alternated between raining all week and being sunny. So I'll settle for partly cloudy and afternoon thunderstorms. That's kind of what the forecast is now. It's getting kind of pretty now, west of Asheboro. Next stop is Knoxville. Might actually stop there and take a break. Definitely getting hilly. I'm really tickled with the Moscow Reckless 80. I can hardly tell there's anything on the bike. It's kind of amazing. Here's our campsite. Well, we're heading south and west on the Blue Ridge Parkway, just below Grandfather Mountain. Heading toward the Linville Gorge. Quite a dramatic, beautiful place. Stands of native hemlock, original growth stuff. These trees have to be 200-300 years old. Roan Mountain, which is in the west, further west from here, is known for the fact that the entire top of the mountain is covered with native rhododendron. And when that's all in bloom, it's spectacular. I think that's the Brown Mountain Overlook. Brown Mountain is famous for having these lights that appeared starting back in the 1700s, I think. And there have been a number of attempts to explain these lights, and no one has yet succeeded, to my knowledge. So it's kind of a fun mystery. This is a nice drive in a car, but it's oh so much nicer on a bike. The whole Blue Ridge Parkway, I believe, is a national park. and it is the most visited national park in the U.S. Well, I've been along this stretch of the Parkway a bazillion times, but I'm going to do something a little different today. And coming up on an intersection of 181. I wonder what's going on here. It's one of the characteristic bridges. All the ones in the Parkway are like that. That old stone, beautiful arches. So going back north today on 181. This is a twisty. Haven't been on this before. Poor man's version of the Tail of the Dragon, I guess. This is the Grandfather Mountain assembly areas and so forth, and they're peeking through the trees. Well, maybe not peeking through the trees. His old grandfather himself. There are actually three peaks. Callaway, Attic Window, and McRae, I think. I think Callaway's the highest by a few feet. I think it's just over 6,000 feet above sea level. Grandfather Mountain was initially owned by a guy named Hugh Morton. And, he was quite an amazing character. Grandfather has got, I think, 5 or 6 different climatic zones and unbelievable vegetation on it. There are plants that are not seen anywhere else in the United States. And under Hugh's tutelage, these plants were taken very good care of. I was up there one time hiking, and they'd closed a section of the trail, and I saw the guys working, asked them what was going on. They said, well, we discovered a such and such plant that was just a foot or two from where the original trail went, and we were afraid it'd get trampled, so we are moving the trail. How good is that? They charged admission to the park, but all the proceeds went to just maintain the trails and take care of the plants and maintain a zoo they had there, largely for injured animals. This is a spectacular place. Back in the 80s, when they were finishing the Blue Ridge Parkway, this is where I want to get on the Parkway, I think. Anyway, back in the 80s when they were finishing the Parkway, the missing stretch went right by Grandfather Mountain here. And the original plan called for them to bulldoze the Parkway into the side of the mountain and destroy some beautiful rock formations, and Hugh wasn't having that, so he took government to court and eventually succeeded in blocking it. And instead of having the Parkway, they built the Lynn Cove Viaduct, which is an engineering marvel. It's a bridge, I guess you'd say. It's anyway, it's suspended from the side of the mountain. It doesn't really connect to the side of the mountain, and it does a kind of an S curve. The sections for the S curve were manufactured off-site and then assembled in place using epoxy. And honestly, you can walk around under it and it looks as if aliens lowered the thing in place and didn't damage a thing. Just amazing. Anyway, about to go over it. This is this stretch for the next 10 or 15 miles is, to me, the prettiest part of the Blue Ridge Parkway. So here is the, we're almost to the Lynn Cove Viaduct. Oh, this is just spectacular, and the light is so pretty today. I hope this is showing up. Here's the visitor center. There are all kinds of photographs of when the thing was actually being assembled. The first time I drove over this in a car, I actually got kind of sweaty palms. Not so great with heights. But I'm not much bothered by it now. So this is the Lynn Cove Viaduct. Grandfather Mountain's above us to the left. How spectacular is this? I mean, my gosh. For a guy who grew up in the flatlands of the Texas Panhandle, the first time I saw this, I was sure I had died and gone to heaven. I hope the video is showing all this. So the rest of the Parkway was built during the Depression as the WPA project. I met a guy up here who's even older than I am, who had actually worked on the Parkway during the Depression, and he was to this day just tremendously proud of what he'd done. Thought it was one of the greatest things of his life. And I thought, how wonderful is that, to have a kind of a public assistance project that leaves everybody feeling enriched. What's going on in front of us? Is that guy seriously standing up? Oh yeah, it's kind of cool. I've never seen anybody do that before. Hope there are no low branches. heading north and east on the Parkway now, Blue Ridge Parkway. Just passing the Price Lake overlook. Which is, of course, the lake I'm looking at from the campsite. This is Sims Pond. It's a nice hike from there that goes up and under the Parkway and then on up over, I think it's Green Hill, one of the higher hills right in here. Wonderful views. It's a nice walk. That trail goes right under this overlook here, bridge here. This is one of the killer hills for bicyclists. Here's the main road into Blowing Rock, 221. We're going to stay on the Parkway for just a little while. Go up to one of the nicest overlooks in this area. You can see it's popular. That overlook is called Thunder Hill by the natives. It's a spectacular place to come in a thunderstorm. You not only get the vistas of the lightning and the clouds, but the thunder echoes around in the valleys and canyons and comes up, and just marvelous. One peal of thunder can last, seems like, for 10 seconds. Beautiful Blowing Rock. Here's the Chatola Inn, Mountain Resort. Here's Southern Comfort, my favorite breakfast place. This is Highway 221. This will take us back to the Parkway. Here's the Cone Memorial Park. There's a beautiful lake called Bass Lake down there that has what was originally a carriage trail around the lake, a mile and a quarter, something like that. Beautiful. A wonderful place to walk. Here's the entrance to the Parkway coming up. So we'll go back and go south on the Parkway this time. So south on the Parkway will take us past the Price Lake campground again, and then we'll continue on, I think, until we go over the Linco Viaduct. Dead ahead, well, 1 o'clock, is Grandfather, Callaway Peak, with the peak itself obscured by the clouds. Now this is just so fabulous. Well, this guy's got a big hill coming up. There's Price Lake again. And our campsite is just a ways up there on the right. That would be Callaway if you could see it, but for the clouds. This is a glorious day. I hope the video is showing the color. The sun is brilliant, not much humidity. Clouds all have sharp outlines. Everything looks crisp. Holloway Mountain Road that we're crossing up here. Go left on it, it takes you over to 221. And right takes you down to Fosco and 105, which is the main road between Boone and Linville. Been really lucky with the weather on this camping trip. It used to be, if I planned to come camping up here, all I had to do was get the tent out and head for the car, and it would start raining. There's a trailhead here that goes up one of the trails that goes up to Grandfather Mountain, Callaway Peak. It's a pretty tough hike. I think it's 3,000 feet of vertical ascent at least. I think it's about 10 miles long. And unless you've got two cars and leave one at the parking area up on Grandfather, then you've got to turn around and walk back. There's a balsam fir grove near the summit on Callaway that is, honest to God, the most amazing smell ever in my entire life. Just to die for. There's a waterfall down in there and a stream, and the kids used the swimming hole. We used to love to take our kids down there. That water's pretty cold in the summer, and it sure cools you off. Boone Fork, another trail. Lots of things named after Daniel Boone in this area. Of course, he explored. Boone is on the main route that he blazed to go west over the Blue Ridge and Appalachians. Look at this color. God, the sunlight is just gorgeous today. Hardly any traffic on the Parkway today. Sometimes, especially in leaf season, it's bumper to bumper. Another one of those overlooks that isn't much of an overlook anymore. You can see them. 20 years ago, that was a great view. This is a little better. In fact, that's Table Rock and Hawksbill over in the distance. I doubt it'll come up on the camera too far away. If you've seen the movie The Last of the Mohicans, this is the Blueberry Hike. No, it's not. I'm wrong. Well, can't remember for sure. Anyway, if you've seen the movie The Last of the Mohicans, a good part of it was filmed on the Table Rock. And Table Rock is also a part of one of the cliff walls that surrounds the Linville Valley Gorge, one of the roughest, deepest gorges in the eastern United States, I think. This is some of the highest elevations on the Parkway. Now this is the Blueberry Hike. It's always standing room only. I may have mentioned this because it's not a very long walk, and boy does it maximize the view you get per step taken. Little hill there with the antenna on it is Grandmother Mountain, and there you can see Linville, the Linco Viaduct. And here are two of the peaks. I think that's Callaway on the right and Attic Window on the left. The third peak, I think, is McRae. I think is not visible from here. Look at that rock face. Oh, that's beautiful. Gee, I hope this video is coming out. A lot of the forest that surrounds the Parkway itself in this area is the Pisgah National Forest. Another non-overlook. And this is the Linco Viaduct. Is this spectacular? And back across the viaduct. Isn't it just amazing? I think I talked about it, but mention again, it was the sections of it were manufactured off-site, transported here, and then put in place one at a time, starting from one end, and glued together, if you can believe it, with epoxy. The design and execution of it is, I think, a really engineering marvel. Wind is really blowing in here. I don't know whether the mic will pick it up. Whether you can see this rock formation up on this ridge on the left, it's called Raven's Rock. And when they, I guess if you look at it just the right way, it looks like a raven perched up there, I guess. I always wonder where these names came from. Grandfather Mountain, of course, is named because viewed from 105, the road between Boone and Linville, in just the right angle and just the right time of day, it looks like a profile of an old man. That's called the grandfather profile view. There's a profile trail that goes up that way to the summit. And that one, I have to say, if you see it from the right angle, it really does look like grandfather. Here's the blueberry hike again. One of the benefits of this hike, if you go at the right time of year, is there are blueberry bushes all along one of the boardwalks up there. And the rule is that any of them that you can reach are yours. The rest are for the bears, black bears. Fortunately, there's no traffic behind me, so I've been just enjoying just poking along and soaking it all up. I guess there's still a bit of a view here. This is the spot of the old swimming hole. Parkway Mountain Road. Next stop, campground.